Hi.
They just targeted IKEA in a suburb. Just,
Wow.
yeah.
So why don't you tell me
I'm
what
sorry,
is?
I have to keep the phone away from my ear because I have the rocket attacks coming across my screen. And you also have to realize it's very lucky that I have a signal in my safe room.
Right. So I don't think most of you realize what it is to be in a house and be hit by rocket fire and to have to run to a safe room to escape from it. So I was actually, sitting at my desk and just doing my work. And we have friends from all over the world. And my Israel friend, she sent us a message in the group that she's actually under rocket fire and she is in her safe house. So I wanted. I thought I'll ask her how she is, and then I got an idea that why don't I, record this for all of you so that you realize what it is like to while we battle and COVID and our own challenges. There are people in the world who are battling other challenges of life and death. And she was so appreciative of the India-Israel relations, in which she talked about how India had helped Israel, when earlier, and now how Israel was helping India. That I just thought, I tried to get her on a video, but you're not supposed to have. The safe house on video. So this is just me. I just spoke to her and her experience while rockets were going all around her and bombing her. So this is the conversation.
They just targeted IKEA in a suburb. Just,
Wow.
yeah.
So why don't you tell me what is?
I have to keep the phone away from my ear because I have the rocket attacks coming across my screen. And you also have to realize it's very lucky that I have a signal in my safe room.
Right.
Do you want me to tell you a little bit about
Yeah. Tell us what is happening, because I don't think many people know what is happening.
Okay, in Israel, in new builds, it's mandatory to build a safe room. A safe room is called a mamad. And the mamad is supposed to be bomb and earthquake proof. Unfortunately, in the last few days, there have been some people killed who've been in safe rooms with shrapnel coming through. But generally, sorry, there's a lot of booms going on right now. Generally, it's the safest place to be. I live on the ground floor, the garden apartment, a 6-story building. So I'm in a good position because I have my own safe room. But a lot of the buildings in Tel Aviv don't. People have to go under the stairs. There are protocols where if you're in the street, you have to go to the floor, put your hands over your head. Sorry, there's just a lot of a lot of rocket going right now, and they're very close. I'm actually worried about somebody who went to the beach today because we were advised to stay home. And being relatively new here, I don't like to take chances, but I wasn't feeling very well. It's probably this week has caught up with me, but I just couldn't move. So I was sitting out in the garden, just having a drink, and I was on the phone with somebody from UK, and the sirens went. Sorry, there's a rocket very near me right now. At a place where I buy my flowers. We have something called the Red Alert app. That is the most accurate in telling you about rocket. Please don't believe what's on CNN, the BBC, Sky News, or anything else. The stories are very slanted. They don't tell what's really happening here and the causes of the conflict. And this is not a war, this is terrorism. You can't negotiate with terrorists, and this is not the indigenous Palestinian people who are driving this. They want to be friends with us. We have many Israeli Arabs living among us that we're together with all the time. This is coming from outside. This is coming from Iran. This is coming from Hamas, Hezbollah, all those bodies. You can't negotiate. We're not negotiating for land. We're not negotiating for anything possible. And that's all they wish to do.
Wow.
All they wish is annihilate us. And that's What they're doing, sorry, Rishon LeZion now. That's very close to me. So I may not stay on too long because I have a couple of friends that I'm worried about. I hope sheltering. Now with the safe route, where I am in Tel Aviv City Center, I have 3 minutes to get to it from when there is a siren. There is a guide put out by the Home Front Command, and if you're at the border, it's 15 seconds. Unfortunately, I had an arm break earlier in the week, or a suspected arm break. It's a long story, and I was in the hospital the other day, and there were lots of people there who had broken limbs running to shelters. There is a lot of injuries, people panicking. And also, you're in a country where not everybody is. There is a lot of refugees. There is a lot of people who've been oppressed in other countries, and communications sometimes are not very clear. So everything Google Translate to try and figure out what's going on. So this is where we're at. I'm in my safe room, and I guess I'm safe with my 2 dogs with me. I basically moved anything that was valuable into this room the other night. It's basically like a room. I have a bed in here. The door is like a door of a bank. It won't let noxious gases in. It is, every floor above is constructed the same way, but I don't think that if you're in a high-rise that you're safe from anything, even if there is a safe room in the high-rise. I don't.
Wow. So this just started, right? All of a sudden, I mean, it was quite peaceful, and then all of a sudden.
No, it wasn't peaceful. They were rocketing southern Israel all night. All night. The rockets have gone on all night. That's why you can't trust any of the mainstream news reporting. Some of the, especially like the TikTok videos, they're fake. They're people who will dress up like they're wounded and collapse and have blood on them, but they're playing games. And a lot of the rockets, 400 out of 2,000 rockets that were sent recently, backfired into Gaza and killed their own. First they started with pipe balloons to burn the fields. Okay, they're bombing Ashkelon again. Right now, my red alert goes off. I switched the volume off on it because it was driving me crazy. So whenever I'm on the phone, I can see what's happening. But the problem is when you're in the safe room and you're by yourself, you really don't know what's happening outside. You're supposed to be able to go out of the safe room 10 minutes after the siren. But the problem is, if I've been in the safe room, I can't hear another siren. I feel the iron defense system, but I can't really know if I should come out or not. So then I start messaging with friends, and then I'm more able to find out. But as I say, this is my first time at this. On the night when it first started happening with Tel Aviv, a friend had called me, and he said to me very quickly, he goes, "Oh, I have to go. There's a siren. I've got to go to my shelter." And I stood there and I said, "What did he just say to me?" And then I heard the siren, and then I'm like, "Oh my God, I have to go to the shelter too." And so, fortunately, my 2 dogs are very calm, and we're just cuddling in here. And I stayed in the shelter that night. I didn't know I could come out.
So you have food and water in the shelter, like you have like.
I put stuff in here for me, just very basics. I have drinks, I have snacks, I have dog treats, I have wee pads for the dogs. I have a little baby potty for me. I have, and I'm lying on my spare bed in here, so it's just a bit claustrophobic. There is no air, but it's very luxurious in comparison to where other people may be. So I feel very, very, very fortunate. But it doesn't mean that the building is immune from getting hit. I was speaking to my lawyer yesterday morning only, and I was telling her about an interview I had seen on the television about this poor girl who was late home from work, and her husband said, come home, and just in a regular neighborhood in Tel Aviv, and she couldn't, the sirens went off, and he went into the safe room, got knocked out, but their apartment was totaled. And so how do you go